All right, so now we're gonna move on to surface area of a cylinder. So the tricky thing about a cylinder is you have to picture what it looks like if we flatten it all out, what shapes are in there. So if you look, or if you think about it, we've got a circle on the top and a circle on the bottom. And then if we were to lay around the outside, it actually ends up being a rectangle. Well, all of those things, we know how to take the area of them. Got pi r squared here, and pi r squared here. And so we could just take our radius, which we already know because we've got 20 as our diameter, so our radius is 10. And so we could say, well, pi 10 squared plus pi 10 squared for the bottom. And then we need to find the area of the rectangle. Well, usually area of a rectangle is base times height. But they give us a base times height in our little picture here. Turns out they do give us the height. The height is 20. But they don't really give us, because that's the distance between our circles, they don't really give us the base here. And so we have to think a little bit about what we know about circles. And so if you picture that getting wrapped around, this length right here gets wrapped around this circle. So if we know the circumference, then we should know this base. And so we need to know how to find circumference. And so our circumference of a circle is pi times diameter. Okay? Now I want you to know that we actually could have said pi times 2r, because these other ones are dealing with r, so most likely I'm going to use this one, where I'm going to say pi times 2r. So circumference of that circle is pi times 2r, which means that this base of our rectangle is pi times 2r. Which means, hey, we found our last surface there. We can take pi times 2r for the base times 20, well, for the height. Okay, and so then we can add all these up, and you'd get 100 pi plus 100 pi plus, I didn't put 10 in there, that guy would be 10, so we get 20 times 20, so you get 400 pi, and so altogether you would get 600 pi, which then you could grab a calculator and figure and calculate what that would be with 3.14. Now a lot of times you will see a formula for surface area of a cylinder. Okay, and here's how they'll write it. They're going to go 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h, which if you look at what we just did, we had our 2 pi r squareds, right? They just times them by 2 instead of writing them out. And then the 2 pi r is our circumference that we had down here times our height. So that is the formula and where it comes from.